and as the Sanders campaign became a viable prospect. And Bernie was leading in many national polls, and he won the early states. And then the party just coalesced in this brutal way around this very weak candidate. And it's scary on a lot of fronts. It's scary because, the polling around whether or not Biden can beat Trump is not reassuring. And what worries me is, like, I think it's great having these people on the committees, but ultimately you need a candidate who can speak to the outrageousness of this moment, who can be angry with people, who can let people find their fight and help people find their fight, in this moment where people are just being sacrificed, being ordered to go into meat packing plants because apparently pork chops are an essential, item on the American, in the American diet.
Mar-a-Lago,
it's madness.
Desperately needs them, yeah.
So it's and that's it worries me, because I know that Bernie could have helped people find their fight in this moment. And when I say I'm angry, what I'm angry about is something very specific, which is that I really think it was a class war that happened within the Democratic Party. Bernie's base was working class people, and it was the very working class people who are now holding the country together. If you look at the list of, like, the number one small donor group who donated to Bernie's campaign, it was Amazon workers,
Yeah.
Walmart workers, nurses, overwhelmingly were, on the campaign trail with Bernie. And it really bothers me that the sort of professional NGO class, the sort of professional activist and liberal class, just looked at the polls and saw that Bernie was the only progressive candidate who was building that working class base. And they thought they knew better. They thought they knew better. And so I think that this is such a key moment where those of us who have this luxury of being able to shelter in place, and who are, whose biggest complaint under lockdown is that our kids are bugging us, and like and that, like, our sourdough didn't work out well, like, we really have a moral responsibility to stand with the Amazon workers who are fighting to have their workplace cleaned after their coworker just died, or people, families of people working in slaughterhouses who are saying, please don't eat meat for a month. Please, stand with us, because the higher the unemployment rate gets, the less their power is, right? Like, they have power when they're being called essential workers, but when unemployment is, like, threatening to be 30%, Jeff Bezos knows there'll be more people who will feed that machine. And they're literally, they're being they're being treated like cannon fodder for capitalism right now. And so I just think that those of us who are having our lives delivered to us, whether it's by streaming or Zoom or by delivery package, we have such a moral responsibility to stand with those workers right now who are taking such risks. And I'm just not over the fact that that we could have had a presidential candidate who they chose, who the nurses chose, who the Amazon workers chose, who the Walmart workers chose. All these people are being celebrated as essential workers. So I guess I'm just giving myself a little bit of space to still be mad, because it's really hard for those of us who were part of the Bernie campaign. The timeline of all this was very hard. Like, there was a call that went out where people said, share a picture of the last normal thing that you did before the pandemic, before lockdown. And I looked at my phone, and every picture I had was a Bernie rally. That was the last thing I did before lockdown, And we just went straight from this, like, kind of almost unbelievable euphoric sense of possibility. I mean, Bernie won Nevada. Bernie won Las Vegas. Like, picture Las Vegas, like the most capitalist place you can imagine, literal casino capitalism. Trump Tower on your right, like gold high rises as far as the eye can see. And the people who make that city run, the people who shine the slot machines, who clean, the toilets in the Trump towers, came out and said, fuck you. We're voting for Bernie. It was unbelievable. He swept the Las Vegas Strip. And, like, it's hard for those of us who are part of that and really felt what a working class movement it was. And it was not the Bernie bros on Twitter. It was not all the things that people claimed it was. It was such a feminist movement. It was so many women who were at the front of it. It's really hard to go from that to this sort of non-entity that is Biden's leadership. And obviously we know we have to beat Trump. That's why we supported Bernie, because you can't beat Trump without somebody who can build the energy.